Hey guys, welcome into the show. It's Cancel This. It is Wednesday. Happy hump day. What's that, Tab? Are you up? You ready to rock?
I didn't realize we were on yet. Scotty's looking at me like, quit talking.
Well, that's why I said happy hump day, everybody. It is Cancel This. Go to cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Tab of the Hassle. Eric Johnson, Scotty Gherkin in studio. You know what we do here. News headlines, politics, cancel culture, and society. We even throw some entertainment in there as well. Plus, coming up today, 8:30, Kathy Helbig-Strick. We'll have her on. A little quicker segment, all about new construction, not only in the St. Louis area, but across the country. Another interview we have today, Nicole Marie at 9:45. We were told we needed to get her on. She drops her first single. She was an American Idol star. She's out of Ohio. I want to ask her about the damn train derailment there. And is it New Palestine, Ohio?
Yeah. East Palestine.
Holy moly.
We call it Palestine. They call it Palestine. Palestine.
How far away is that from Chicago? Do you know?
I don't know.
I was just curious. Anyway, so we'll get into that today as well. Go to cancelthisshow.com. Share the show on all the sites. Like, subscribe. Let everybody know what's going on. We appreciate when you do that. Coming up tomorrow, 9 o'clock, we're also going to talk with a Missouri senator, but a lot of what he talks about not only goes throughout the state of Missouri, but around the country. Very, very interesting things with Nick Schroer. We'll talk to him about the latest when it comes to governments and states and their takeovers and what they do, not only with big cities when it comes to crime, but also across the state. Friday, we're going to talk with AON's Chanel Rion. I like that last name, Rion.
It's like a perfume.
So she'll be coming up at 9 o'clock as well. So if you guys have cancel culture topics, ideas, know of anything that has been canceled, let us know. Heck, we'll do segments of things that maybe should be canceled.
Yeah, really.
And there are many of things that should. Many things.
Like rock bands, right?
Rock bands were canceled a long time ago. Isn't that right, Scotty? You know that's right.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
When MTV went to Cribs, it was over.
We were done.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum.
What was that other show with all the
the real world or whatever it was?
The ones with Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore, yeah.
What a piece of crap that was.
I would really like to ask a very important question today.
Jump right in.
Eric, why are you on time?
How is that important?
That's
lack of importance right there. No,
Eric comes in and comes out. It's all part of it now.
I was shocked to see him walk in. I didn't even realize you started the show. I'm like, holy cow.
Nope.
Kind of scared me. I almost pulled my gun. I'm like, who's here? I won't shoot you, Eric.
It's okay. No, I'm okay with shooting.
Not on the other
Jay
side of it.
Exactly.
Jay says, cancel the Illinois government.
Yes.
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a joke now. Yeah, okay. There we go. We're rocking and rolling. We do everything. John says it's suspicious for sure.
It is certainly
Okay.
I think he was out all night and he slept in the parking lot.
Everything's always better with more Eric than less Eric.
Okay. I mean, if you're going to start with me, what'd you do for Valentine's Day last night?
You know what I did for Valentine's Day? Believe it or not.
Yeah, here we go.
I met up with Kasia Stocky and her beautiful son, Kai.
Does she not have a boyfriend?
And no, we're single together. And we're smart women.
Remember Scotty and Vic back in the day when you go to the prom and the girls wouldn't get a date, so they would just go together. It'd be like a gaggle of women or a gaggle of girls.
Well, I'll tell you what. We went to Wenty's, our favorite place and sponsor of the show, Wenty's, and there was a whole group of ladies there. I ran.
That's sad as hell.
No,
oh my God,
fantastic! They were probably the happiest group of women I've seen in a long time.
Misery loves company.
I'm so happy.
And the band PDA was playing, who I found out, a good friend of mine, Charlie Barali, and his wife are in the band PDA. So it was a really fantastic night. But you know what I did, Eric? Valentine's Day is about other people. And also learning lessons. So I left here yesterday. I went and I bought some steaks and some different things to cook lunch for my mom and my son. Yeah. Well, I got the bright idea to go and buy $100 worth of instant lottery tickets.
Okay,
this is what you did for Valentine's Day.
Well, that's nice.
Well, my mom doesn't want flowers; they die. my son, neither of them eat candy.
Yeah.
And so that leaves you with very little options.
Lottery tickets, they build your hopes up and then they nail you down.
Because I thought, maybe,
like a real relationship.
Yeah, maybe they'll win $1 million. People in St. Charles County.
And then they scratch it off and they won nothing.
$100 won nothing, not even $1.
Not even $1.
Not even one.
And you made a lot of people at Quick Trip behind you pissed off.
No, I bought them in the machine. I have a secret lottery machine.
Secret lottery that wins no money.
Yes.
Perfect. I know where that machine's at.
Go in there tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway,
I had a great Valentine's Day because you know what I did not do?
What'd you not do?
I didn't go home and be mad at any guy.
Okay.
Because he watched too much football or because he was late coming home or because he might have talked to some girl.
Why would you get mad at any guy for watching football? Anyway, we have to have a talk, Tab. We have to have a talk after the show.
Tab has made her mind up about the rest of her life, so she is closed-minded to that whole subject.
She came in a nice red shirt yesterday, all hopeful that someone would ask her out. Now she's in a black shirt.
My hope has died.
Die, men, die.
Dreams are over on Valentine's Day.
That's right. Hopes and dreams are pretty much dead with the president of the United States. Did you see Josh Hawley?
Yeah, he's going nuts. He's always going nuts on something.
We talked about it on this show, and that's why we try to provide the perspective. The thing that gets me is the fact that we've always said he's not making decisions at the White House, right? We've said that over and over and over again. And it's easy for us to say it. We're not sitting Congress members, but oh my word, Josh Hawley on national television last night. Do we have that sound ready to go? Listen, okay, we all talked about what was shot down over the country, over Canada. Listen to Josh Hawley talk about the response that we got from the White House, or lack thereof.
I came out of that briefing thinking that nothing that they said added up, and so here's my conclusion. Either they're lying to us, which is very possible, considering that they lied about the Chinese spy balloon, or they're totally and completely incompetent. Or maybe it's both, which might be the most frightening possibility of all, but maybe the most likely. In either respect, we are not getting straight answers. And you know what? Joe Biden could solve this. He could go on national TV. He could level with the American people and say, here's what we know. Here's what we did, why we did it. But I don't think he'll do that, Sean, because it's not clear to me that he's actually making the decisions here. I don't know who's really in charge. I don't know where he is, but he doesn't appear to be the one calling the shots.
Wow. True story.
What do you think? I think they lied, and I think they're incompetent.
No, it's not that they lied. It's like there's these three objects. The balloon we saw, we don't even know what the balloon was to this date.
So come on now.
Here's the deal. These planes have cameras on them. They have cameras on them.
Why aren't they releasing the footage?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And
because they're lying. That's why.
Well, I think Josh is right. They even have Democratic senators going. Most Democratic senators that came out of these hearings yesterday said this. 99% of everything they told us, there's no reason they shouldn't tell the American people. And then there's like this weird 1%.
Maybe it was real UFOs. Maybe that's why they're not telling
us. You know what?
Have you heard?
I don't know that you're wrong. I don't know that you're wrong.
I don't know what's right.
How do we know?
A Tic Tac side.
I mean,
I always freaked out on the Tic Tac video from the Air Force pilot or the Navy pilot, and I was like, "What is that thing?" It could be a supersonic drone of some sort. It absolutely could. A Sidewinder missile doesn't miss much, and we shot one at one of these things, and it missed. Did they ever say that the second Sidewinder hit the thing?
I don't know. Why won't they release the video? We know they have good video. We know they have clear video. Why won't they release the video? Why were these objects not on NORAD? Why do we have pilots making statements saying these objects interfered with my instruments?
I didn't hear that.
But that doesn't mean they're UFOs. I mean, it could be just a drone, with different types of technology on it. The fact is we don't know. Could it be a UFO? Maybe. It's awfully odd that one was shaped like a cylinder and the other one was shaped like an octagon. One was glass and shattered when they hit it. We typically think
I didn't hear any of this stuff.
You can't handle the truth.
Amen, brother. I whatever you just said. I mean, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying I've never heard any of that stuff.
Well,
how did you hear it was glass and it shattered?
Because
that was in the national report.
It was being reported.
Wow. So you learned something new on this show every day.
I didn't hear that until yesterday, Eric, that there was at least one pilot that spoke of momentarily their functions weren't working.
What?
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of an octagon as far as the ability to fly. That's crazy to me.
Well, that's what they also said. The pilot, at least one of the pilots said, as well as Kirby, both said that these items don't have propulsion systems. But that can mean two different things. Not having a propulsion system doesn't necessarily mean it's a UFO.
Correct.
Not having a propulsion system, a balloon doesn't have a propulsion system.
But it went from Montana to Lake Huron or Huron.
But here's the thing. Okay, think about this. We've had so many coincidences lately. What is the coincidence that there was this balloon that we say came from China that came here to the United States ahead of these other objects? Either we did that with intent to blame it on China, and maybe because we knew these other objects were out there, or it could be that the balloon really did come from China, and so did these other objects. Yeah. But it doesn't appear to me like these objects came from China, because what people are not reporting is this didn't just happen in the United States. Whatever these objects are, they're being seen in other parts of the world.
That's true
as well.
China said that they had seen them as well, but you never know what.
And you don't know what's going on with China.
But now we allegedly shot down an Iranian drone as well over Syria, and I'm like,
that happens all the time.
I know, but it's like, what? Now we're putting that information out from the State Department, but we're not talking about details.
Well, drones are taking out tanks all over, the Europe right now. Drones, they are. Drone technology is weaponized. Drone technology is surveillance engines. Drone technology is all over the place. How fast these things move, that's the question.
Drones are very big right now, in
but
the
these
war in
aren't
Ukraine.
Drones, right?
I don't think these are drones, no, because drones do have a propulsion system. And no, I do not think they're drones. And you know what I thought was the most interesting statement I heard from anyone was the general I spoke about the other day, Van Herk. And what he stated, and he's over Northern Command, which is over the operation used to take these whatever objects out. And he said two statements, actually. He said they are not balloons. A, they are not balloons. They are objects.
Yes.
And he said, B, they don't have propulsion system. He said one was shaped like an octagon, one was shaped like a cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
And is there a possibility that there is a balloon within these objects, and that's what's guiding it? He said, we don't know. We won't know till we recover it. But I'm going to say if they recovered an object that was shaped like a cylinder, an object that was shaped like an octagon, and it was balloon powered, we would know that already.
Yeah, an octagon balloon. I don't know what the purpose of an octagon balloon is. There's no aerodynamic there. I mean, I guess you could have a little bit of radar deception with an octagon. I don't know. I mean, it seems weird if you're going to put a balloon up, and if it's going to be one of our own balloons, you would think we would know about it. It would be real easy for us to go, yeah, we actually shot down one of our NOAA balloons.
Well, we can talk about this all day long. The problem is, as Josh Hawley said, we're not getting information still days after.
Mm-hmm.
The president is nowhere to be found.
Yes.
And the more inept that he is and that he shows to be, it seems as if the American public is just like, whatever, that's what we get. I don't know what we can say, what we can do about it. I mean, he's being called out on certain networks, on certain platforms like this one, just question. It's like, wait a second, where is he? What's going on? Who's actually running the country with those kinds of decisions? And I give Josh Hawley credit for bringing that up. I give Josh Hawley credit for calling it out and going, wait a second.
Well, what about John Tester? He's bringing
happening.
It up too.
And, well, yeah.
He's a Democrat.
He is. And that brings more to the table. But at least Josh Hawley, from a conservative standpoint, I mean, he's speaking up.
Yeah.
He's trying. And he brings up some great points and he puts it eloquently. Like, what the hell is going on?
We deserve answers. And I realize when it comes to national security, we can't know the answers to everything. Sometimes that's not safe to. But this is something we should be able to know. We should know, what did you shoot down? What was it? But think about this. Maybe they really don't know. Maybe whatever they shot down, they have recovered, and they're still trying to figure it out.
Do we really think that they would green light to shoot something down that they didn't know what it was? I'm not buying that.
I don't buy it either.
I don't know.
They're too cautious about it. I mean, they want to know what's going on, what it is, why it's there before they would take it down.
I would certainly think
without
so.
a threat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way they would just go, let's just go shoot it down.
If it's a UFO over the Yukon or over Alaska.
Well, they chose wise areas to do it.
Why would they even report on that? Who reported on that? The military probably has these kind of operations every day that we don't know about.
They do, but it's hard for them not to report on it because, there are so many people out there these days who watch.
Not over Prudhoe Bay. I
Well,
mean, my God,
no,
there's no one there in Prudhoe Bay.
There are people who watch the trajectory of our jets. And when jets scramble out of a military base, there are a lot of people who know that. And I've already seen the tracking of these jets and where they went. And as a matter of fact, I was kind of surprised with some of the aircraft that our government sent out. You know, I took a picture of, I'll have to go back and look later, but there was one that it sent out, which was like a bomber. I'm like, why are we sending a bomber out?
Just another
object.
It's another game. It's like the Biden administration says, "Oh, you guys haven't had enough of Clue? Here's another game of Clue for you guys to talk about. What's in the manila envelope in the middle of the game board?" And then it's all about these objects that are coming over the United States. And we have this radio show today that's talking about trying to figure out what it is, and we cannot figure it out. This is not transparency.
Well, we can't figure it out,
and it's like
they're not telling us.
It's like everything that these clowns do. With this train derailment in the middle of Ohio right now. This is killing everything up there. Yet the EPA's up there saying, "Oh, everything's cool." No, it's not.
Yeah,
no, I'm glad.
I mean, it's everything. It's
I'm glad you brought that up, Eric, because what the hell is going on? I mean, this could be a disastrous deal.
It is a disastrous
and it's
deal.
gotten zero coverage the entire weekend. And I'm sorry, we're not trying to be, oh, Mr. Conspiracy, Mrs. Conspiracy Theorist. But guess what? This happens. And then what are we talking about all weekend long? The objects. That's why we started with the objects to talk about this subject. We're still talking about that. Yeah, they're both important subjects, but where's the coverage on what's going on in Ohio?
It's like a train derailment in Wentzville, Missouri is about the equivalent. We're here in St. Louis, so it's about that. And then you have toxic, noxious fumes that are getting into the Missouri River. Imagine that. I'm just doing it. And then you're basically your local government saying, okay, all this noxious gas that we just released, you're fine to go back to your house now, but you can smell it. It's killing your dog. It's killing your cat. Your cows are now dying. And your government is saying nothing to see here. Yes, there is, fool.
Well, it's vinyl chloride.
Yeah, it's a mile away. It's just a mile away from where people live.
It absolutely so. And what we have to remember, what's so crazy about this is that it created acid rain across the region. So remember when you see those photos of that giant cloud going up in the air? Well, that created acid rain over a very large region. And so that very large region is facing a problem of animals dying, contaminating the water. We're seeing massive fish die off in all these areas. It's already gone into, what was it? Was it the Ohio River? It's already made its way into, and
it's going down to Pittsburgh.
And guess that's where that's going. That's going right into the Mississippi.
That's right.
And what is that going to do as it makes its way down into the Gulf?
I don't know. Ask the media.
It's a really...
Ask the administration. Ask Buttigieg.
And what about all of these people who have breathed these chemicals in?
They're screwed.
And not only that, but let's remember...
Liver damage, liver cancer. All kinds of stuff.
Wasn't it Norfolk? Wasn't that the train department? They lied about what was on the train. That's the most important part. They lied. They were not supposed to be transporting this number and these different types of chemicals. Yet they did. They did transport it. There was a derailment. And then to bring it all, you know how we've been talking about how many so many coincidences lately?
Yeah.
It just happens to be that Netflix made a movie called White Noise about a train derailment with chemicals in it in Ohio, right there at East Palestine.
See, I need to know. I need like a daily briefing on all this stuff because I didn't know that. What is that? It's like we get hints years in advance of all of this stuff.
Eric, you just took
on
my
camera.
It wasn't even years, months
in advance. It's
and some of the people who
keep an eye out on Netflix and the Simpsons, I guess.
Some of the people who live in East, they call it Palestine, I believe is how they pronounce it there. The people who live in this East Palestine, they are saying that they were even actors in this movie, which is even crazier.
You can't make it up.
I know. And so
but this happened February 3rd.
Yeah.
This just didn't happen.
It's not new. It's just that the news isn't covering it.
Well,
and this
because
should be the number one story next to the earthquake in Turkey.
You know why it didn't make news? Because we do get train derailments, which is another...
Not like this.
No, well, there's been a few, but it's another example of why... make the XL pipeline a thing. you would not have these kind of environmental challenges if you dumped fuel, which we did do just recently up in Washington State. And not to mention, it just goes to show that we need to have a better grip on what we're transporting across our rail system. We do. I mean, if this happens, we just knocked out an entire town. This will be a ghost town.
It's more than
this
a
is
town.
like the
It'll be more
dioxin
than a
that
town.
happened here just down the street in St. Louis.
But it just all starts to add up. I mean, one thing after the other, and it has nothing to do with it not being a big story. In this day and age with so much technology and media coverage covering just about anything and everything, not a lot of coverage on this until just the last weekend. That's it. And still not a ton nationally. Now, it should be as more and more families are getting their stories out there. But for it to be February 15th and on the 3rd, this happened, we're talking about 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks.
Complete media blackout. As some people on the comment line are saying, reporters have been arrested for trying to cover the story.
What? Arrested?
Arrested for trying to cover the story. They do not want this to be in the media. There is a media blackout. There's a reason why it's not being talked about in the media. And I mean, even us, we've been so busy, we haven't had time to talk about it, but we've at least been aware of it. Eric, this is such a big disaster. I really think it's unlike anything we've seen with prior train derailments. Because did you see that cloud? They say it was the equivalent of dropping a nuclear bomb on this town.
Yeah.
And that cloud went up. And in that cloud was all of these chemicals. And those chemicals came back down over a very wide area.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a very large portion of Ohio. Yeah. And wherever that cloud would have drifted to, east, with acid rain coming down and potentially killing animals, ruining land, people, their properties are going to be worth nothing.
Yeah. The reports are coming out now, animals and fish being found dead.
Yes.
And not trying to overhype it, but this is another massive situation. And how did it derail?
Right in the middle of the damn town. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know if they've reported on that.
Yeah, I didn't ask you for an answer. I mean, expecting to have an answer.
Right. We don't know.
And you'll never know.
And we're not being told.
You'll never know.
What the heck's going on? I was also being told about a couple of these things happening. Another one in Arizona, not getting coverage. It just reminded me of the production plants, food production plants, meat production plants. All of a sudden, they're being set on fire. We don't know why. We have grid companies being attacked. Have these sorts of derailments happened a lot in our history? They've happened, but I don't know to this extent. And how does this continue to go on?
Who's the moron? Who's the moron that said, well, we're just going to dump this stuff in a trench that's not protected. That's not protected. It will get into the water source. And then we're going to light the thing on fire and create a toxic fume over this community. Who was that moron? Who in the hell was the one that
firefighters? And I think they're thinking
no. Then they're morons. Because here's the deal. You figure a way to siphon every ounce of that garbage up into some kind of a tank.
But no, what they did is they put it into a ditch and they burned it. Because that's
bad.
That's what their training tells them to do.
That's bad.
Well,
they just put it into the water table.
They didn't
do training.
Well, no, these were hazardous. I think what they did with burning the chloride was what they were supposed to do.
No,
but the problem had already happened. By the time they did that, none of it mattered. It was already too late, because as soon as that train derailment happened and you had that giant explosion and that giant mushroom cloud, there are already experts out there. And I know Jay on the comment line said, "Oh, it's just ash." It's not just ash. You can go out and read the comments from scientists, environmentalists, and different people who are saying that it rained down vinyl acid across a very large area of Ohio.
To me, this is simple. Who's at fault here? Whoever owns the rail system and this Norfolk, who is running?
It is Norfolk Southern.
Okay, Norfolk Southern. You guys are on the hook for about, I don't know, what's the population of this town? You're on the hook for housing these people for up to a year until the real, not the EPA, because it seems like they don't care, but people that know how to clean this mess up can go in there and clean the mess up completely. So you're on the hook. Whether it's $5 billion, $100 billion, sucks to be you. Call your insurance company, whatever it is. But every single person in this town right now should have their dogs on a chain. They should have a suitcase, and they should be driving up the street to get the hell out of this place.
Well,
Period.
they'll have to. But there, from what I understand, there's no Red Cross there. There's no FEMA there. There's no one to help these people. They are completely on their own.
I thought that's starting to move in now.
It may be, but look how long it's taken.
I thought FEMA was national.
It took 2 to 3 days.
I thought you had C-130s with FEMA gear all in it, and you could fly them anywhere you wanted to go. If this is the truth, Tabitha, then anyone can walk a dirty bomb over the border and put it in any little rural community.
Have already done that. They just are waiting for the call.
I mean, this is a dry run for something like that.
Is our government and state government Ohio that bad?
Or
because you have residents saying it took 2 to 3 days for them to be evacuated.
Exactly. But here's what the problem is that a lot of people miss is that they didn't know what they were dealing with in the very beginning. Because Norfolk Southern, think about this.
Okay.
This was a 50-car freight train.
Here we go.
Carrying vinyl chloride.
Okay.
Well, guess what? To increase revenue, they classified it as non-hazardous. It should have been classified as
then they need to build
hazardous.
them new homes.
So these people,
whatever it is,
it's so much bigger than that. So these people who are responding, these to these teams that clean up hazardous waste, they didn't realize what exactly was contained at first. They didn't realize what happened at first because the train says, guess what? Non-hazardous.
Well, then this needs to come out. Pete Buttigieg needs to stop being such a puss, and he needs to resign. This all
falls on him.
Pete Buttigieg just needs to resign, period. I'm sorry.
Well,
there's so many people in that cabinet that need to resign.
Well, Republicans have been calling him out. Now Democrats are calling him. Heck, even AOC went after him on that.
AOC did. Omar did. Who doesn't like Elon Omar all of a sudden? She's like attacking all of her own because they're just incompetent boobs.
Well, we're talking.
But it's northern. It's northern. Is it Norfolk Southern?
Yeah.
Who's really to blame? Because let's say if the hazardous people that responded burned the chloride, they did so because they were told it was something different.
I'm just do we know how close this is to Cleveland? Is Cleveland the closest city? I'm just curious because our singer that we talked to today at 9:45 Central Time, she's from Ohio and she's from that Cleveland area, and I'll be curious to find out what kind of information they're getting in Ohio from there.
Yeah, I mean it's close to her heart. Even if Springfield caught on fire, we're in Missouri.
Well,
so.
the Joplin tornado, I do remember
exactly
that.
Right.
That's for sure. This is cancelthisshow.com. Once again, cancelthisshow.com. Scott Gurkin, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust. You know what we do here? Lots of news headlines, politics, cancel culture, society, you name it. Everything we do is trying to help you out too, give you the information that maybe you don't know or help you out in your everyday life. Part of that includes the real estate market. And we've teamed with, I don't know if there's anybody better. She may say there's somebody better, maybe in America, but not in the St. Louis area. It's Kathy Helbig-Strick. Real estate partners expect to be moved. Kathy, good morning. Welcome in today.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we're sticking to one topic today.
We're sticking to one topic. Yes.
And
we're going to try anyway.
There may be something in there. Last week, you told us next week
was new construction.
New construction, because it's a massive topic now.
It is.
With everything going on.
I love it. I love
Jump
it.
right in.
It is. Yeah. The builders are back out in full force again. They kind of had a little slowdown last fall. But they did some catch up. Their pipelines are clearing up a little bit, and they're in full force of new construction, at least in our area. So, what I run into a lot is that people don't necessarily understand or even think that there's a role for a real estate agent in the new construction process. So
educate.
Oh, what
I'm going to tell you why you were wrong. If that's the case. So what happens is you typically go into a display home, a subdivision, a development that has multiple houses built by the builder that you can go through and see their floor plans. There's usually someone sitting in one of those display homes that you would assume is maybe a realtor or works for the builder. It can be a hostess, or it can be, someone that's employed by the builder. Most of the time, sometimes they have their license, sometimes they don't. They don't have to when you work for a builder. But the key word there is they work for the builder, right?
Yeah.
So you're going in and you're talking with, just like the car salesman at the
buying
dealer.
A Bentley.
Correct. So you're talking to them. You really don't have anybody that's advising you. They're going to advise you as to the standard procedures to go through, but they're not necessarily working on your behalf.
Okay.
So, but the reason why a lot of people don't call an agent is they think they want to keep their costs down.
Right.
And so this person's knowledgeable about the product. They're nice. They've spent a lot of time with me. They've given me some advice on like picking some options and things like that. So why would I call in an agent? It's probably going to cost me more money.
Yeah, right.
Right? Is that what most people think?
Yeah, middleman. Get rid of the middleman.
Exactly.
And they are so wrong.
They are
when they
so
think that.
wrong in most cases. I'm not going to say there's not a one-off, there's some one-off builders out there that have different setups. But generally speaking, when you're talking about the big builders in town that have the developments, what happens is they budget the years prior. They look at how many times did we have a client come in and use a real estate agent. So that is a cost basis factor that goes into all of their budgeting, all of their planning as a percentage wise of what their past has shown. Because a lot of people do use realtors. So just like they're figuring out how much do our sewers cost us?
Yeah.
How much is excavating? They're going to say, there's a cost to clients that want representation. So that's factored in whether you walk in with an agent or not in most cases.
Okay.
Is this the same all around the country, the information you're giving us?
I can't say there's areas somewhere that might be different, but for the most part, that's
Gotcha.
what I understand. It is definitely in our geographic area. So what I'm saying is you're not going in and saying, hey, because I don't have a realtor, can you take $12,000 off the price for me?
Okay. Yes.
That
Why
doesn't
not?
happen.
Well, sure it is.
No.
I know that's my personality. I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
I can at least ask the question.
You can ask,
Yeah.
but it's in most cases, like I said, there's some one-off builders, custom things like that, where it's literally just a cost basis plus a percentage.
Yeah.
That might be different.
Right.
But when you're talking the developments, it's built in because they also have to look at they're not going to give you a deal and then sell your neighbor the exact same house with the exact same elevation and you got it for $12,000 cheaper because you went in without an agent. So there's a lot of reasons why that doesn't necessarily work like that.
Okay.
So whether there's an agent or not, it's the same going to the builder. That's just a little bit more in their pocket. It also goes towards sometimes there's an agent representing the neighborhood. So even though you're not using that agent as your agent, that agent is a marketing agent like Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway, some of the big companies have contracts for new construction with these developments to put them in the MLS, to market for signs, things like that. So there's a cost that goes to them regardless if you use an agent or not.
Let's step back. This is such a great idea because inventory is real low. Some of these places that they're building I've been very interested in. Here, what is the strategy? So I like the area. I know there's some amenities I want added to a home that I want to buy over there. Do I call you first and I say, here's I don't even go on a Saturday afternoon and go to look at the demo house. I come to you first.
Absolutely. And here's the reason why. And most people don't because they don't understand this.
Because they're excited to go see it.
They're excited to go see it. And a lot of times you go look at houses when you're really early in the process. You're not quite ready to pull the trigger, but you're going to go kick tires, right? So the problem with this is that over time, builders, especially when they're booming, when they're not booming, then they love realtors.
Yeah.
When they are booming, then there's parameters that they put in place that basically says, and some of them are more strict than others. If your agent didn't introduce you to our development, then we're not going to participate in a payout with them.
Okay.
So it kind of precludes you from having representation. You can hire an agent on your own.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't even like to work with us in that situation. Like they won't let you into the design rooms to help them pick out their features and things like that. So
really,
yeah, it's getting kind of crazy with the parameters they're putting on. But so what they do is certain builders, you have to either call ahead of time and schedule your appointment, or you have to show up with your buyer. If the buyer walks in before you, months ahead before you, and they sign in and say, oh, I don't have a realtor, because they haven't really gotten to that stage yet in their mind.
Right.
Then potentially when you are more serious and you're ready to build, that builder can either not allow the agent in or not, at least at minimum, not participate with paying.
It's so important when you're buying a new home from a builder, in my opinion, to use an agent, because guess what? Almost like an attorney.
Yes.
You are there to represent the buyer. And as much as I've known a lot of home builders, And most of them are wonderful, great companies, but there are some that aren't.
Right.
And it's not even that they're not trying to honor the buyer, but there are things that you know about that the buyer doesn't.
Correct.
If I went in right now and bought a new home, a new construction, I wouldn't have the faintest clue what my rights are.
Exactly.
What I can see, what I can't see, what I can do, what I can't do. They might call me and say, well, that bathtub's not available now because of shortages, but
100%.
yet you paid for it. And,
Yep.
and you have to have someone like you to represent.
Right.
The
Because
buyer.
at least we know what's norm and what's not norm. You're doing this one time. We're
That's
doing
right.
it over and over and over again with people. So we can, and there has been times when I've sided with the builder, like the buyer gets all up in arms and I'll be like, you know what? This really is kind of how it works.
At least you're honest.
And at least
have
you
to be
know,
honest.
at least you have the knowledge.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have the
Exactly.
faintest clue. And because I wouldn't have the faintest clue as the buyer, I would probably lose out on things maybe I could
Yes.
have done or changes I could have made that I
Yeah.
wouldn't know about.
For sure. There's things that I look at when I'm helping you build that I'm looking at when you call me 5 years from now to sell this house, you're going to be in the best position for
Mhm.
resale.
Yeah.
Not everybody's doing that when you're sitting there at
Yeah.
the table. They're just
Mhm.
upcharging you. Put in the granite, put in the crown molding, trim your doors, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to not do a 3-car garage
Right.
because you want crown
Yeah.
molding?
That would
Like,
be me.
No,
But you
don't
know
I,
what?
I would be
Sometimes-
making all
It's a
the
lot of
wrong
people.
choices.
I know a lot of people that they just know what they want, and they're just like, you
Yes.
know what? What I'm about to say to you makes no sense, and that's me.
Why do I believe that? No.
I mean, I'm in the mood. I'm in the
Yeah.
market for a house. What
Yeah.
can I say? And there's just certain things, and just talk a little bit about going through the process of, like I was talking last night over dinner. I said, you know what? If I want a house, I want one on a lake. Well, if I can't get the lake, at least I have to have this.
Right.
And if I can't get this,
Mhm.
then you just keep walking down the aisle.
Correct.
Is that a good way of looking at it, and not just going and seeing something willy-nilly? Go, I guess I'll settle for this.
Yes, but a lot of times your parameters do change because people do have if you're not building something,
Yes.
it's rare that you're going to find the house that checks every single box for
Right.
you.
Do you wait? Is it better to wait?
It's better to go build.
It's better to go
I mean,
build.
if you want it to
Yes.
be exactly like you want it to be, then go build it.
Can building a house be cheaper than finding one that's in current inventory?
Depends
it?
on but then
Okay.
you've also got all the extras afterwards of blinds, landscaping, all of those things that you're going to add to
Mhm.
the house that is now outside of your mortgage.
Mhm.
So you need to make sure, you got to think about those
Okay.
things as
Eric,
well.
I have some advice for you. If you're looking for, just give Kathy a call.
Give me a
Talk
call.
to her right after the show. You give her a call. She's going to
I've
take
got
care
too
of
many
you.
questions. For her.
Kathy held
She
big
won't like
strict.
it. She'll hate it.
No, she won't. She deals with this.
Buy you a
I
latte.
guarantee she might have. There's a chance she might have had somebody who had more questions than you would have.
No.
Yes.
Kathy Helbig Strick,
Yes.
experienced real estate partners. Expect to be moved. 314-276-SOLD. 314-276-SOLD. A question from our comment line.
Sure.
Kathy, what do you think of new construction? And I know that's a general wide.
Yes.
I mean, there may be some builders that may, and I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but
Mhm.
in general, what do you think and what are you seeing with new construction?
Well, we saw a little bit of a price break after the fall slowdown. We saw obviously the lumber prices came down.
Wow.
And builders were starting to be a little more pliable.
Mhm.
We're probably going to get back to, not quite what we saw 2 years ago, but we're going to get back to them not being very negotiable right now for a little while. Land is precious and
yes.
and it's expensive. So
Mm.
the cost of things have gone up quite a bit. I'm as a realtor, it's a little bit shocking to see what you can build now compared to what I've used to helping people build 5 years ago.
Right.
It's a little bit of a sticker shock, but I don't think we're ever going backwards on our prices here.
I just read about that last night. I
What?
was looking at investments. I keep telling my son, the only way a person can truly generate wealth is through real estate. It is a surefire method of generating wealth. And since I think I read it since 1987, real estate has increased in value by 441%.
Right.
It never decreases, except for in some
There was a couple
areas.
small decreases through like the bubble burst in 2008, but very minimal did it go down and then it came back. again.
Everyone should invest in real estate.
Where is a
Thank you,
plot of
Charlotte.
land? If Okay, where are the builders building up right now? Is it Defiance? Where's the areas that you can actually put new houses?
Winsville, Defiance, Troy, like everything heading out that direction.
That sounds like St. Charles County.
St. Charles County, you got it. Obviously, Kirkwood, they're still doing teardowns.
Going north up towards the river, is that like, I don't know what the area is up there, past Newtown and all that stuff?
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't see as much growth there as we see farther west.
Is there any affordable land yet still to build on as far as this? Because every time I've checked land, I'm like, oh my Lord, I used to buy houses for this price and it was just a plot of land. Is there anything affordable out there that you?
I mean, it's all relative to how ever far out you're willing to go, the more affordable the land is.
And that's so true. The house that my son is selling this week, out of your territory, unfortunately. It's 22 acres.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? Here in this area, 22 acres would be a whole lot of money. Out in the country, in the middle of nowhere, in southern Missouri, it's worth very little.
Okay.
So it really depends on where you go.
We also hear about construction not only in the state of Missouri. Where are you hearing there's a lot of new construction? Is it the South? Because you're so many people moving to Florida, so many people moving to Texas, and there's so many vast areas.
Obviously, Austin was huge. Texas,
new construction.
Houston, yeah, a lot in Houston. Let's see, any of the warm territories. Florida is crazy. The construction going on in Florida is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So,
where would you be building in Florida? Just everywhere?
Everywhere. Yep.
Well, they
it's
can
a mass exodus to Florida during COVID.
In Texas, correct?
Texas, yeah.
Okay, what is some other spots other than Texas, and because you help people all over, right? What's some other places? If it's not Florida, if it's not Texas, where would you go?
I like Carolinas.
Carolina, okay.
Virginia, kind of.
What about Alabama, like southern Alabama by Mobile? You still have the ocean down there?
Yep.
That would be good.
Very, very pretty. And also an area that's booming as well.
Yeah, Mississippi.
Yeah, just kind of the people that don't really want to be in Florida, but
get that weather. I don't want to be around all that.
Destin area is crazy.
You can't go to Destin, can you?
It's so expensive.
That's our sister city, Destin and Pensacola, or St. Louis.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's our sister city?
It's where we all go.
Yeah.
It's where we all go.
Not me.
It's an easy trip.
I'm going down to the Keys.
Yeah. I want it warmer. Yes.
Is your son looking at building a house, Tabitha?
Actually, he is looking to purchase real estate. He's selling his. In fact, we were supposed to go today, but he's sick. We're going to clear out. His father passed away, and he just recently sold his home. And I told him, you need to start investing in real estate, and that is exactly what he's going to do. Everyone should. If you want a surefire way to make money over a period of time,
here's a question from the text line. Ready?
Sure.
And I agree with this 100%. All they're building is apartments in St. Charles. Okay. Do you ever sit down a client and say, look, the home values in this area are going to kind of start to come down because there's so much multifamily going up. Is that ever a discussion that you have with clients? No. Could you have that? I mean, would you like? We
could, but we haven't seen it yet.
It's like foreseeing the future kind of a thing.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing apartment buildings go up everywhere, not just St. Charles County. Okay. But we're also still seeing, single residential homes go up too. So watching the builders, that gives you an indicator when they pull back or they're surging forward. That's a very good indicator of what's happening.
Okay.
But guys, I've got a friend. What are they building? What are they building most of? And he's a builder. He's in Nevada and Reno and places west. He's like, we're building way more multi-complex buildings, apartment buildings than we are homes. I don't know. I mean, I guess it just depends on the
area. That area too.
Is that a question of affordability? I mean, don't you think it's
sure.
It's like you can't afford a house, so you might as well just start building
and
apartments.
Maybe as more apartment buildings come up, then some of the rent prices will come back down because then we have more to choose from.
It's going to change. If
the rent prices are going up,
rent prices
than the home sales.
They sure are
ridiculous. But it's at some point here in the state of Missouri, we're hoping to eliminate a lot of the personal property tax.
Yes,
and I think the personal property tax causes more people to move into apartments. Maybe versus buying a home.
Amen.
But when that tax,
that's right.
When that tax law changes, people are going to flock to buy a new home.
Absolutely.
And that's a big topic in the state of Missouri. I'm not sure about other states, but it could. I legitimately could see how it could happen in the state of Missouri.
Yeah,
I'm hearing that much push from politicians in the state, both on the Republican and Democratic side.
For Missouri.
We'll know tomorrow.
It will be.
We'll know tomorrow. Talk to Nick. See what's going through.
And I was like, "What's going on tomorrow?"
Yeah.
Well, he won't have the answer.
Well, he's in the game now.
Yeah. He's in the game, but
and he knows how to answer the question. Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. But it seems like the push for the property taxes is going away. Is at least there. This insane I say insane, but it's not. The 7.5 in rate of getting a loan is kind of
coming
high.
coming down.
Hopefully.
Yesterday we saw low 6s. One of my loan partners locked a VA loan at 5.125 yesterday.
Okay. And then being able to negotiate these house prices down a little bit to get people excited about this.
And we'll see a typical surge of spring and summer.
Yes.
Because that's high time. We did see properties tick up a little bit. We were almost at 380 yesterday on new listings, and 111 coming
there you
soon.
go.
So
don't you hate people like me who know a little bit, but I don't know enough to make an accurate decision? And really,
you got to
see this all the time.
People like you.
I was say, actually, you're my favorite.
That's a good point, Tyler.
Because once I win you over, I have you for life.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Sure.
And that's why we need people like you, because so many of us don't know. I mean, I know a little bit from my family's real estate business, but even I wouldn't want to sell a house. As a matter of fact, I woke up this morning thinking about you coming in today, and I was thinking how valuable it is to have an agent. Too many people think, and my family has learned this firsthand. It's so easy to think, well, I don't need an agent. I'm going to save the commission.
Yes.
I'm going to sell the house myself. And trust me, we've gone that route. And we tried to sell a duplex, had an offer, didn't work out. And then guess what? The day we listed it with a real estate agent, 6 offers in one day, meeting our price and above what we were looking for.
Exactly.
You have to have an agent.
We typically do pay for ourselves, and then some.
That's right.
I'm going to say this though. You gotta do your due diligence and find you're fantastic. But I will tell you this.
100% agree.
I'll tell you this. I have a few friends that are realtors, and they only care about making money off of me. And I'm like offended, Vic. I'm like, wait a minute.
Do they tell you this?
No, but when I went back and did the math, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You charge me for this. You charge me for this. What the hell? You're out of the family. So it is very
it is true.
important, because you're going to be around with these people
Yep.
for the rest of their lives, maybe.
I get invested with my people. And, there was a new construction story. I'll make it really quick. My billboard had been outside of these people's house for 20 years. Okay. So they see me every single day.
By the way, those billboards work. They do.
Yes,
I can't tell you. Oh yeah. I've seen her billboard all over the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these
wait till
people
we
have
can
been
afford
looking
billboards.
at me forever. And they always knew they were going to use me to sell their house when the time came. So what do? They're thinking about, are we going to remodel? Are we going to move? Let's jump in the car, honey. It's a pretty day.
Yeah.
Let's go drive around and look at new construction.
Yes.
So they do. So they wander onto a subdivision without me, obviously, because they hadn't reconciled in their mind if they're doing anything yet.
Yep.
So then, of course, they sign in. They get a little closer to making this decision. They call me. And they have me come over to talk about selling their house. And then they also want me to help them represent them on the build. Well, then the builder steps in and says, you didn't register. When you came in, she didn't introduce you to the property. And we have a real estate agent that we would like to refer you to. And that, just so you know, there's a special deal. And this happens a lot out there. There's a partnership relationship with an agent that they're referring you to that's going to give you a discount if you list their house with them for a reason. Why is that builder sending you to that person? For a reason. That person's giving you a discounted listing price to sell your house because they want to make sure you use them.
Yeah.
Because again, where are the loyalties with that?
Yeah.
And so they didn't like that. It made them mad. And they called me. They're like, what do we do? And I'm like, let me call him. I've had a great relationship with this builder over the years. I call them and they were literally like, they were just didn't want to deal with it. And so I was literally like, I can't believe that you are causing these people to not have who they want. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it for freaking free, because they're not going to block me from coming in and giving you representation. I was so
awesome.
mad. They ended up paying me, but I went into that knowing I'm doing this because you need an advocate.
There you go.
And that's Kathy Helbig.
There you go.
That's the way it's going to be.
I'm in.
Kathy
I'm in.
Helbig. Kathy
I'm
Helbig,
in.
Strict Experience Real Estate Partners, expect to be moved. 314-276-SOLD. 314-276-SOLD. If you have any questions, real estate, come on. You're starting to get to know Kathy. Whether it's here, whether it's out of state, give her and her team a call. You can trust her. We know her. She's a part of the show as well. 314-276-SOLD. Do you have any ideas about a topic for next week yet? Or because I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I'll shoot you one. I'm actually heading out to Miami, so maybe it'll be houseboats. Who knows?
Fun.
We're going to go to the boat show down there.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute. I thought barn dominiums were cool. Now we're talking about
We're gonna get on a
houseboats.
houseboat. Yeah,
you can
I
get a
love that.
Love that.
You can park a houseboat right on the Missouri
My brain
River.
is not on next week's topic yet, but it will be.
Hey, well, think about this. Sleepless in Seattle. That was a houseboat, right?
Yes.
With Tom Hanks.
There
I
you go.
love it. I would live on a houseboat in a flash. If we had a place here to put a houseboat,
Yeah.
I would live in one.
Yeah.
Missouri River, baby. Go get your
How
houseboat, Eric.
There you
disgusting
go.
would that
And
be?
your mosquito repellent.
Mosquitoes and waves and
Yeah.
logs.
Wait,
That'd
when's
be
the boat
horrible.
show in Miami?
This weekend. Like I think it starts maybe Thursday.
Nice.
I know.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I
Yeah,
can think of worse
excited.
places to be.
Mm.
Kathy, thanks again. Thanks for being so honest and direct. That's
you.
some of the chat line response that we're getting.
Appreciate
So
it.
enjoy your time in Miami. We'll catch up with you
Thank you.
next
Are you
week.
taking a flight out of here?
Yeah, I'm actually running home to finish putting stuff in my suitcase and then heading to the airport.
There you go.
So,
Exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have a great
Yep.
day,
All right,
Kathy.
thanks,
we
guys.
appreciate it.
Take
Kathy
care.
helping
Sucks to be us. We don't get to go to
I
Miami,
know.
Vic.
No, not
Take
yet.
us with you,
Not
Kathy.
yet.
Look at poor Tab. She's dead serious. Please take us with you.
Kathy Helbig Strict. Kathy Helbig Strict. Experienced real estate partners. Expect to be moved. Once again, 314-276 sold. Just give her a call. And if you do, if you have questions, let her know that you heard about her or learned about a specific topic on the show. CancelTheShow.com.
I would like to have a topic when she comes in, alternative houses. And I say that because I lived in the Great Northwest, and there were people that would take these shipping containers and cut into them and make them houses and put them in the middle of the woods, and they were cool as
There's
hell.
some here in town.
I
There's
was
one.
like, damn, that is such a great idea.
They can make beautiful homes.
Yes.
Those are some of the things
You can buy them
that-
for like $3,000 a piece.
And people move them around in different ways to where you can create a really neat
Yeah,
looking
those like
house.
Lincoln logs of houses.
Well, around the country, there are certain mayors and cities that want to use those for homeless. They're called small homes. They use
No. To think about taking 6 or
talking
7
about
of
a-
these things.
Okay, well, you said
and
a
then
shipping
making a
container.
house.
I was
out
talking
of
about
it.
one shipping container.
Well,
Yeah.
that's for illegal aliens
Some
to come
people
across
take-
the border.
Some people take like 10 shipping containers
Yeah.
and make a house. And then you can take 2 of them and make a pool. It's kind of wild how people are making
Well,
those.
it's alternative.
houses.
It's
Melissa
alternative
says
thinking.
Elon Musk making 10,000 box houses somewhere. I don't know where those
And
are.
there's like I said before, there's houses that come out of Vegas that they pack up and they fold up and they deliver them right to your property.
Well, Elon Musk lives in a tiny house at the Starlink facility.
Well, that's one of his homes.
Yes, but
He lives with
it's-
friends.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't even own a home.
No.
He stays
Correct.
in this little.
However, he does have
tiny
a jet.
house at Starlink.
I could live in a jet.
Yeah,
I mean-
he does have a jet, so he could have a house if he wanted to.
And Paul said there is one in St. Charles City, and that's the one I'm thinking of. A container.
I would love to go drive by it.
It
I'd
is.
love to go.
I can't recall where it is. But it is
There's
really
another
neat.
thing up in the Northwest is these people. Serious, they buy yurts. Do you know what a yurt is?
Yes.
A
No,
yurt is like
I
a
have
big
no
tent.
idea.
It's like a big tent, and they'll lay concrete. They'll put the yurt on the concrete. I don't know how it develops. It defends against the wind, but they build a house out of it, and it's awesome. They have nice outdoors. They're right in the middle of the woods. So it's alternative ways of thinking about building a home.
But yeah, not in an HOA. You got to do that out in the country.
No, that's I don't even know how they get water, to be honest with you. I'm sure they have some kind of septic tank,
Well, the government is cutting down on yurts and all of these other alternative housing.
Why?
Because they don't want you to be self-sufficient.
It's kind
And
of the
if you
living
can-
off the grid principle.
They don't want you
Jay
to live
says
off the
yurts are
grid,
very popular in Hawaii due to the cost of homes there.
right?
I had
and the
no
fact
idea.
you
Yeah,
can't
I don't
own
know.
land in Hawaii.
And the weather is decent.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
So
And
you're not,
and you build
I
them
wouldn't
up.
want a yurt here in Missouri.
Why?
No.
Why? I would. It's just
go build yourself
interesting.
one.
Okay,
And
I will
you-
then, Tabitha.
you might.
You can
It'll be on
start-
the Lake of the Ozarks, and you're not invited.
you can start. You can start your own reality show from your yurt.
Yes.
Will the yurt be right next to your barn dominium, next to your houseboat?
Next
you
to the
could do-
runway. Next to the runway.
You could
Yeah.
do all three down there
Yeah.
by the Missouri rivers I
Yeah.
joked about earlier. You could.
Scotty could build a yurt out on his property, and you could rent it from him.
Why
Who's
wouldn't
to
I?
say I don't have one?
Exactly. It's in his garage right now. He needs to build it still. But
And
it's
Aaron
there.
says rain catching or wells, not hard to figure out.
Exactly. Good point.
But illegal in many parts of the country.
As we have talked about
I
with
am-
Tabitha, specifically in the southwest of the United States of Missouri.
I'm way too hard of a customer for Kathy. I'll tell you. I would never do myself to her.
She said the right thing. She was grinning like, okay,
Yeah, sure.
Well,
Well, mhm.
get me out of here.
Have you ever heard of
Okay,
Remax?
this
They're down the
Eric guy.
road.
Kathy is fantastic. And
I-
absolutely. I'm not kidding you. I was just reading yesterday, seriously, about building wealth because my parents built wealth through real estate. And I'm telling you,
You're right.
if you want to build
That's
wealth, especially, and it doesn't matter what age you are, you can start today. You could go get a job
Well, wealth is
and
created.
never build $1 million.
I hope
You're right.
pray it
but you can
stays.
through real estate.
Because we have certainly seen our economy and inflation and everything else that's now hitting different times that we live in America.
Wealth is created through things that have a certain value today, but it raise in value over time. And also the ability for these kids, these millennials and Gen Zs who are figuring out how to make money as they're sleeping with some of these weird online things. So there's a lot of ways to create wealth, but Tabitha's right. The house that we bought here in St. Louis about 1987, as a matter of fact, I know my mom bought it at $67,000. And every now and then I go onto Zillow and I look at that house and it says $310,000. And I'm going, what the hell? My mom would be rich right now if she was
trying to
alive.
find a house for $67,000.
Amen, brother.
Now.
It's not.
And these $310,000 houses aren't going to be worth $900,000.
Exactly.
They're going to be worth 200.
Yeah, and as Drew from the comment line said, they're all filled with particle wood. These new damn homes. I guess you get what
it's
you pay
true.
for, though.
He's right. He's absolutely right. Some of these houses are like they use substandard materials. They got popcorn on the ceiling. Still, the popcorn paint on the ceiling.
That's why you hire Kathy, and that
bingo.
Exactly. And she
Exactly.
can find a good builder for you and help supervise
That's right.
the materials.
All right, it's cancelthisshow.com. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up in hour 2, we've got Eric wanted to take a look at the jacket that Damar Hamlin, the Buffalo Bills safety that died on the field and came back to life, was wearing at the Super Bowl. And if Eric sends something, man, is he passionate about it. We'll show you a couple of pictures, get into that whole situation. There's a lot of conspiracy theories saying that he's a clone. His tattoos don't match. He doesn't have a tattoo on his neck anymore that he once had. Tabitha, did you know this? Do you know this story?
No.
Well, it's because it's a football player and you're anti-sports.
I know nothing about sports.
And you're the
or
queen.
Players.
Very interesting stuff. We're going to show you some pictures. We'll get into that. Gonna also hit Lamar Johnson, a St. Louis area guy, spent 29 years of his life in prison. People coming forward saying, the same people that convicted him and said that they witnessed him commit a murder, then came back and said, no, believe it or not, Kim Gardner, a St. Louis Circuit attorney, was behind that trying to get him out. But imagine spending 29 years of your life in prison for something you didn't do. Yeah. We'll get into that. Tabitha says Russian warships are now out at sea with nuclear weapons on them.
And there's a reason why.
And there's a reason why we'll get that.
And it's not what you think.
And coming up at 9:45, we're going to talk with Nicole Marie. She has a new single dropping today. She was a star on American Idol. She's out of Ohio. Super, super fun woman. We're going to get her story, have a little fun coming up at 9:45 today as well. This is cancelthisshow.com. Scotty Gherkin, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I'm Vic Faust. Back in just a couple moments right after this break. Glove Exotic Services is St. Louis's first concierge vehicle service center. Alex David's team is passionate, certified technicians. They have industry-leading tools and equipment. They do it all. They pick up and deliver your car hands-free. Plus, they have elite detailing service, customized PPF wraps and tinting, and inspection and titling assistance. White Glove also specializes in logistics and storing options, vehicle listings, and consignment. White Glove Exotic Services. Check them out at cancelthisshow.com. Kathy O. Big Strick, owner of Experience Real Estate Partners with EXP, has been one of St. Louis, Missouri's highest selling groups for 26 years running. In that time, Kathy and her team have successfully assisted an incredible 4,000 families. So if you're thinking about buying, building, or selling, be sure to put Kathy's group and their experience to work for you, and you can expect to be moved. Just give her a call at 314-276-SOLD. That's 314-276-7653, or find her online at experience-re.com. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, if you don't know, is a family-owned business that has been around since 1994, serving some of the best chicken wings in town, no joke. Also known for their fresh burgers, pizza, and incredible smoked meat. Top-notch happy hour specials are included, plus live music every Friday and Saturday. Oh yeah, you can also enjoy their spacious heated covered patio. It's Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 18,000 Chesterfield Airport Road. And welcome back to cancelthisshow.com. News headlines, politics, cancel culture, society, entertainment. We do it all here. We appreciate you jumping in. We appreciate you sharing the show as always. If you haven't checked out all of the platforms, please do so. Like, subscribe, and share the show. Always love talking during the breaks. At some point in time, we will get that information out there. We always like your opinions, your comments as well. Well, most of them we do. That's for sure. Scotty Gherkin, Eric Johnson, Tabitha Hassel. I am Vic Faust. Once again, that interview with Nicole Marie has her first big single coming up today. She's going to talk to us at 9:45 out of Ohio. We got a couple of musicians on the show, as well, with Eric and Scott. I wonder how difficult that is.
I wonder if we
getting albums dropped and singles dropped and on a national level.
It's very hard. I mean, well, I don't know what it means. She could be putting it on Spotify for all we know.
Yeah, because things have changed. So we'll find out how that whole show goes and what's happening with her today, coming up a little bit later. Tabitha, as we were heading into the break, we were talking about what the hell's going on with Russian warships and a reason in the seas. I mean, obviously, Russia's got this little kind of war invasion going on in Ukraine right now.
Russia is not happy with us right now, us being the United States. And so people are seeing Newsweek released an article talking about Russia has a ship heading towards Norway that is carrying nuclear weapons. They say this is the first time that Russia has released a ship carrying nuclear weapons in over 30 years. Well, there's a reason. And people are like, oh my gosh, what did Norway do? Why are they going to Norway? It's not about Norway. It's about the United States, because what a lot of people don't know is United States Marines train in Norway. We have built bunkers in Norway. So all across the Scandinavian peninsula, we, the United States, we train our troops. We have bunkers full of weapons and supplies, etc. And the only reason why we have weapons and supplies and train on the Scandinavian peninsula is in case Russia is ever a threat. And of course, we have Sweden and Finland joining NATO. They both applied to join NATO. Both of those countries are expected to be approved to join NATO. And that means the entire Scandinavian peninsula will be a threat. And of course, they're right along the border of Russia.
Right.
They pose a larger threat. And now Russia's probably saying, okay, here we have Finland and Sweden joining NATO. NATO is clearly was built to go against Russian aggression. And we have United States troops training Marines over on the Scandinavian border. And we know they have stockpiles of weapons there. And there's a lot of talk that the United States has troops right now in Norway preparing for the eventual war we're going to have with Russia. So that's why Russia is sending the ship over to Norway.
Not to bury your comment, but the eventual war we're going to have with Russia.
We're already in a war.
Well, kind of.
We're already in a war.
Kind not the war that Americans know.
Not.
And we need to just remind people. I mean, you just need to. I mean, when people here say we're already in a war,
we are in a war.
Okay, but we're not in a physical fighting war. It's a different kind of war.
We don't have our U.S. troops in Russia. I mean, in Ukraine yet. We are not in Russia. We don't have troops actively fighting. We have mercenaries actively fighting, veterans actively fighting. We have United States troops all along the border of Ukraine waiting to fight. We have a lot of National Guard troops there on the border waiting to help in the fighting. We have Ukrainian troops in the United States right now training to use our Patriot missile defense system. And like we said yesterday, by mid-March, these tanks are going to start arriving. I think it's 387 tanks are going to start arriving.
You have to be careful how you surmise this, because during World War II, we weren't in the war. We weren't in Europe and we weren't in Japan. We were just bystanders. There was a war, and that's kind of what's happening now. Ukraine and Russia are having it out. and we're just kind of this proxy. Have you guys need any help over here? And we were throwing help towards Britain, and we were throwing as much help as we could, but we had no business over there. And then all of a sudden,
we had troops on the ground.
Well,
yeah, and we finance it.
Yeah, and here's the semantics: the day that the Japan came over the hills and started putting missiles into the USS Arizona, that's the day that we were in a war. And that's how I look at when you say we're in a war. I know it's different psyops wars, and I know there's Cold Wars, and I know there's espionage wars. I get it. But we're not in a war.
When
and we can't, and we got to be careful how we say
we don't,
things.
because no, we don't, because here it is. Russia has already said, "Hey, United
I know you're
States,
passionate about it.
It's not about being passionate. It's about being
people
truthful.
like myself, well, I'm not passionate about what you're saying because there's no evidence that we're launching F-35s up over targets and doing sorties.
Being in a war. What constitutes being in a war?
What constitutes being in a war is that the general population of a country understands that
then that's
we are
not what
now
constitutes being in a war. That's your understanding of a war.
Cold War was different. We understood we were in a Cold War.
This isn't a Cold War. What we have to remember, whenever you actively bring,
because I like the discussion, I do, but I'm the kind of person, I'm tactile. I have to touch stuff, and if it's not touchable, then it's not real to me.
Yeah, that's what I want to listen to you about it. And
I love what you're saying. I do.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn from you because when I'm like Eric, where I'm like, okay, it may be what we used to know as the Cold War, and it could be semantics and our vocabulary.
This is not a Cold War. You have to remember, Russia has already said, we have moved and we have transitioned from the United States being in a proxy war to a direct war, because we have taken Ukrainian troops and we have taken those troops onto our own land, into our own country, and we, the United States, are now using our troops to train Ukrainian troops. And so Russia is saying, as soon as you took your troops onto your land, onto your soil, and started training them to fight against us, then now it is a direct war.
I hadn't heard a Russian official say that, but I trust you.
They have. And they've said it numerous times.
Well, Elon also took down Starlink, I believe, because he didn't want to be part of World War III. Is that correct?
That's what I heard.
I don't know. I remember when he launched Starlink over Ukraine to assist Ukraine and not Russia.
Oh, you're talking about over there, not on here. Because I was going to say, I have Starlink.
No.
Yeah, not here.
So Starlink was a free service. It's like, screw you, communications will stay up. And Starlink was the mechanism to do that. Now, Elon's saying, look, if there's any reason to be the beginning of World War III, I'm out. Which is smart. Yeah. It is smart. Ukraine, if you want network communications, you got to do it yourself. And that's the island that the world has put Ukraine on. You see what I'm saying? You see where it gets a little gray? It's like it's like 87-year-old grandparents are getting missiles through their living room right now. That is not a good optic for anybody over here that doesn't want a 87-year-old grandma getting missiles through their living room.
Why don't you tell the Ukrainian troops? Why don't you tell Zelensky that he needs to behave and abide by the Geneva Convention? But he's not. You know what? Zelensky is committing war crimes, because you know what he's doing? And this is a fact, Eric, stated by even the United Nations, who made a big report about it. Zelensky's troops are they are barricading themselves in civilian buildings, in apartment buildings, in movie theaters, in hospitals, and then they are attacking Russian troops from civilian buildings, holding civilians hostage. That's what they're doing. They're using civilians as body shields. And then what's happened to human shields? And then when Russia attacks back, which they have every right to do, they have every right to shoot back, then guess what happens? Civilians die. That blood is on the hands of Zelensky, not Russia.
Well, Aaron Bland from the comment line said that General Miley yesterday had a press conference saying that Russia had been defeated in Ukraine,
which is even funnier.
No, the offensive is coming, and Russia's going to be all hands on deck. And I think that countries, first of all, the geopolitical stuff about Russia trying to get into Ukraine is crazy. It really is, and they use all kinds of lies to deceive people, saying they're going over there to, NATO was about to become Ukraine was about to become a sponsor of NATO, and they didn't want that, and they probably didn't handle this very well. But ultimately, they wanted access to the sea. They wanted all of that land for their for farming and agriculture, and they wanted the resources of Ukraine. That's all they wanted to bring the Soviet Union back together. This is.
I don't agree with that.
They wanted Putin.
Russia is liberating Russians in Ukraine.
It would be like this. Lyndon B. Johnson. Here, this is the way you should think about it. Think of if Lyndon B. Johnson back in the 70s said, "Okay, we're giving Texas back to Mexico because they wanted it, and we're going to give it back. Bloom, that's it." And then from that point forward, presidents that were elected after that were like, "This is bullcrap. Texas is ours." And they
that's
viscerally,
not what's happening here.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
viscerally,
not.
they want Texas back.
If you think that's what's happening here, then you don't understand what's going on.
And
nor do a lot of people.
Putin could not stand
the
USSR being broken up. He is a KGB
operative
from the 70s and 80s.
This is not what this is about.
It is what it's about.
No,
you are
not.
over. Yes, it is.
But what do you think it's about then? What are you saying it's about?
Russia has been very clear in stating what this invasion is about. The people who are living in these 3 regions in the east, Luhansk, Donetsk, in these areas, these people are Russian-speaking people. These people have been being slaughtered by Ukrainians.
They want the USSR
for 8
back.
years. No, they don't. These people in these regions, they have been praying to be liberated. In Mariupol, we saw so much information about Mariupol being attacked allegedly by Russia. These people were not attacked. They were liberated. They're Russians. They wanted to be liberated. They're being slaughtered by Ukraine. They're being ostracized.
Why were they being slaughtered for 8 years again?
Because they are Russian speaking. And it's almost like if you took Afghans and built a little city here in the middle of St. Charles, and we hated them because they're Afghani. And so we took troops and we put these troops into
in no
their
way,
city.
shape, or form did Putin say, "I'm having bad dreams about the good people of Ukraine. We got to go save them." No, that
you
was
have
not
no
it.
freaking idea what you're talking about.
I do. I mean, I know enough about what I'm talking about.
You don't, because you're
I know
wrong.
it's more,
and you're misinforming people.
It doesn't make sense to me either, but that's why I'm trying to listen to you so I can understand.
Russia has always said, let's negotiate. We don't want to take your entire country. We don't even want to remove Zelensky as the president. We want the regions where our people are being ostracized, where our people are being killed.
What do you mean they want the regions?
The regions in the east.
You mean they want the land, like Eric says?
They want it's 3 small areas in the east.
No, it's a direct access to the ocean.
It's a
trading route.
It's already the area where Russians live, Russian speakers live. These people who are living there have been living in fear. They're being slaughtered. There has been a war raging in these 3 areas for 8 years.
But would you compare it to the Middle East situation with Israelis and Palestinians? Because I know that you back Palestinians and the territory, even though.
Well, no, I back all. I want peace. That's all I want there. It's not that I
but
back
then that changes
Palestinians.
it. Well, this could.
I want everyone to be happy.
But come on. We all know it. Everybody wants peace, but you just don't have peace. And everybody says, okay, everything's. No, people die for peace.
Exactly.
And people die in war. That's what I'm trying to understand. If it's not a situation where Russia, I see both things. I see Russia wants the land, and they can say we want to liberate people.
They're liberating the people. They are,
but
liberating
it's land
the
that
people.
they want to.
How about that? They're just. I'm not going to say that it's about the land. There might be people who do, but I've been following what's been going on in these eastern region of Ukraine for 10 years.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to listen to you.
For 10 years. It's not like, Russia invaded Ukraine. Now I'm paying attention. I was following this long before Russia invaded Ukraine. And guess what? Russia has been threatening to invade Ukraine for 8 years.
No,
for 8 years.
But Putin,
because Ukrainians are killing their people.
It's Russia nothing.
So it sounds like you say Putin's this peacemaker.
I think I'm not saying Putin's a great guy, and I've never said
I
that.
know, but it can come across, he wants to liberate these people. He's a good guy.
Is liberating these people because Ukraine, of course, we know is a country that is completely corrupt. It was established as a puppet country to funnel money, to launder money, to create these biolabs, to hide all the things the West, the WEF, globalism, all the things we want to do. Then in the meantime, we have neo-Nazis in Ukraine. Neo-Nazis. We know the neo-Nazis are there. They're called the Azov Battalion. They are the official guard of Ukraine. They are part of the military. These people have been slaughtering Russians for 8 years.
Where's Colonel Joe?
Colonel Joe would agree with me 100%.
I'm sure he would, but still, geopolitical politics starts at the borders and ends at the borders. You see what I'm saying?
Lizzie says Putin is to Russia that Trump was to America.
That's absolutely correct.
That's a massive statement.
Yeah, but Trump didn't try to go get Mexico. Trump didn't try to go take over.
Well, Mexico was never ours, and Americans aren't being slaughtered in Mexico.
Trump didn't take a boat down to Puerto Vallarta and try to get it. I mean,
it doesn't even compare. Those situations don't compare.
But there was no offensive for Trump. Putin, I'm telling you, it's his mindset and the fact that he's protected by military, he's protected by oligarchs which challenged him and now have been discommunicated by the Russian people. He doesn't have to answer to any kind of Congress. He basically wants the Lenin and he wants the Brezhnev Russia back.
Russia has a parliament.
And that's it.
Russia has a parliament.
Oh, come on.
Come
on.
Basically,
it's a rubber stamp.
It's
a rubber stamp. It's a rubber stamp. And
you're an
and all kinds
woman.
of things you say are probably correct, but you're talking on the micro level. The macro level is it's like, we're Mother Russia. We are going to take back Ukraine. It'll be over in 24 hours. I will come back here with all kinds of barley and we will be able to go to the sea and we will bring them in and they will love us forever. That is his mentality.
You don't know what his mentality is, and nor do I. We don't know the man. But we all we can do is look at the statements they've made and the negotiating they're trying to do. They have gone to the negotiating table, I don't know how many times. And every single time they've gone to the negotiating table, Russia and Putin have been very clear. And they have said, we don't want to remove Zelensky as president. We're not going to kill him. They had, 3 or 4 rules. They said they do not want Ukraine to become part of NATO. They want the Eastern region, which is 3 separate regions in the East, because those were already Russian people, Russian speaking people. And just like Crimea, and they want. They just want that area.
We're living in an era where the Mongolians going over and taking over all of Asia, and Rome going and taking over all of Europe, and the Greek, and those days are over. The days of bigger countries just kind of wiping over smaller countries. It seems like they're over. We have a UN, we have a structure of economic security. There's all kinds of things in place that keep smaller countries safe. Ukraine's, no matter how corrupt they are, and I don't disagree with you, Hunter Biden is a fantastic example of what you're talking about, but smaller countries should be in no peril of being railed over.
Smaller countries shouldn't say they're going to join NATO against their bordering country.
Well, that was factoring. You're right.
What?
That's a good point.
And guess what? These situations are happening all over the globe, Tabitha. And I'm sorry I brought up the Middle East earlier.
Dividing. The world is dividing.
And Kevin from the comment line says, anybody that thinks Ukraine should trust Putin should think again.
Amen.
He also says Putin doesn't give a crap about people in his own country, much less people in Ukraine.
Well, then why is it that 2/3?
He's a bad guy, ex-KGB, and the way he went about his invasion against children and women in schools and hospitals
That's right.
is absurd.
That's right.
Well, Kevin is wrong. As wrong as Eric is. Sorry, Eric.
If we wanted
Kevin
Jamaica,
has no idea what
if
he's
we're
talking
like,
about.
oh my God, Jamaica is making so much money on taxes. If the United States wanted Jamaica and said, you have 24 hours to relinquish your country or we're coming in to take it.
Jamaica never was part of our country. It's not
comparable. I know. But if we started launching Scud missiles or missiles at Jamaica, Patriot missiles.
That's good.
If we started launching missiles and whatever other artillery we wanted at Jamaica and started killing the residents of Jamaica, would there be honor in them sticking up for themselves?
It's just not. You can't
just
compare it.
It's just the tactical.
You
the
just
tactical.
can't compare the two situations.
I'm saying this. At no
Should
point,
Ukrainians-
0 points, should Russian missiles be in the living room of anyone in Ukraine.
You're wrong.
Wow, that's on tape, isn't it? Scotty, tell me you recorded that.
But the great thing is that we all have our
because of the
opinions.
reason why. Reason why. Because I'll tell you what, Eric. If you come to my house in my neighborhood, okay, you're Russia, you come into my neighborhood and you're marching down my street, okay, and I take my military and I put it in my neighbor's house, and then I'm shooting at you from my neighbor's house where my neighbors are upstairs in their bedrooms, and you bomb that house because I took it over and was shooting at you, guess what? I'm in the right, not you.
We've got about a minute left. We've been on this topic for 20 minutes, believe it or not. About 19 minutes already.
And now
Russians
it's time
support
sprockets
Putin,
when
by
we
the way.
dance.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, we got lots of topics we can get to. I'm always told, let's
Yeah.
get to lots of topics, but man, it's a fiery one right now. That's for sure.
I think we need a separate recorded segment, and Eric and I'll teach Eric.
Oh, I have good video
About
of that
Russia.
back and forth. We already got it.
Good. I'm glad that we got
And
it.
what Bindi said, Bindi made a really good point, and it's a point I try to make all the time. We always say we need to have these viewing parties. If anyone wants to understand the situation between Russia and Ukraine, watch the movie. It's an Oliver Stone movie called Ukraine on Fire, and you will understand every facet of why Russia has done what they've done.
Does it take care of Putin and his whole PR campaign?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Meaning it, I'm trying to be kind in saying this. Vladimir Putin is not a good guy.
And
He's
no
not a
one's
good
saying
guy,
he is a good
Tabitha.
guy. No one has said he's a
But
good
the message
guy.
can be mixed when some of the messages that you bring up
People,
about
listen,
what
I'm
he
going to tell the
wants.
truth, and people can take it however they want. If they want to say, oh, Tabitha thinks Putin's a god, no, I don't.
Do you trust Oliver Stone?
Yes, I do.
Okay, just making
I
sure.
trust anyone who's out there defying the odds and telling the truth. And if you watch that movie, you will know the truth. Ukraine is full of Nazis. They're full of Nazis. And people need to know what's going on.
I just wonder.
Robert
don't
says
you
they
think
call
it's
it Ukraine for some reason.
Don't you think it's interesting
People over
timing that every major power on the planet Earth has been challenging Biden since he got in office? That maybe spells that he is compromised. Like it's like if Putin saying, if you do anything, Joe,
maybe with
I'm going to release this. 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 And as a matter of fact, let me introduce you to Xi. He's the president of China. Hey, do you have anything to tell Joe also? If you do anything, Joe, I'm going to release this. I'm going to release this. I'm going to release this. Do you think that he's not compromised? Because I know for a damn fact they would not have done this to Trump. Period.
Probably.
Discussion over.
Of course they wouldn't have.
Discussion over.
Dropped a bomb on them and been done with it. There's no question. But we have to remember, sometimes we, not Trump, not the United States under Trump, but we, the United States, sometimes we're the bad guy. And sometimes we have to remember what we see is propaganda. And a lot of times, maybe we have to remember, I'm never going to say Putin's a good guy. He has done some things that are terrible, but so have we as a country. You think we haven't done things that are terrible? We've done a lot of really terrible things in this country. But I'll tell you one thing. A lot of what we hear about Russia and about Putin is propaganda, because we, as far as propaganda, we are as bad, if not worse, than China. The people in China laugh at us because we make fun of them. They're like, you guys, your government's worse than ours is.
Yeah, but we just have to be careful in speaking about a dictator in Putin.
I'm not going to be careful about it, because I'll tell you what.
Okay. Well, Oliver Stone is
you
also
can be careful about it.
Yeah, but Oliver Stone is also.
Oliver Stone is not pro-communism.
He has made comments and he has put work out there regarding that.
I have never seen anything about Oliver Stone.
Okay.
I'm going to go look that up to be sure, but I've not seen anything.
And we
like
can
that.
catch up with that tomorrow. Great topic so far. We'll continue to cover all of that stuff also. Hey, by the way, Eric brought this up and we wanted to jump in. We got a really cool interview coming up at 9:45 with singer Nicole Marie out of Ohio. I'm curious right now. Check out this picture. We're going to talk about Damar Hamlin. He was the Buffalo Bills safety who was at the Super Bowl. This jacket blew me away. And Eric, I was shocked that you said, look at this. Like, you sent it to us. I had seen it. I was wondering, in the way that that Fox did the coverage, they zoomed in on him before the Super Bowl. And when they zoomed in on him, he was wearing sunglasses and they didn't show a lot of what he was wearing.
Yeah.
But you're talking about, now there's conspiracy theories. Oh, it's not him. I'm going to assume this is Damar Hamlin. Okay. He was promoted as Damar. I'm not going to call him a clone, even though there are those people out there who are saying this is a clone, that a tattoo on the back of his neck before is now gone. But the point of showing the picture already, Dave's like, it's not the same guy. It's Tabitha, you need to jump into this subject of anything.
I'm wondering why people care. Who cares if he's a clone?
The jacket, this guy. So if he was saved, he comes out with his jacket, and that picture, the head on the quote cross of Jesus, the crucifixion, is one that's used in some devil paraphernalia, and it's put on the head of the quote Jesus crucifixion. You hear the things, but this is a guy whose life literally he was brought back to life. And then he was wearing that. That's the jacket that he chose. Now, he was catching some backlash. Adrian Peterson, running back in the NFL, Hall of Fame running back, even called him out and said, this is disgusting, ridiculous.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people were and I say a lot, former athletes going, wait a second.
Yep.
Why would you wear that shirt or that jacket?
You sent me this picture, and I've been trying to find something here, but I did read something that stitching was a drawing from a fan, a kid that sent him that while he was in the hospital, and a card, and he had it made into the jacket. But I have not been able to confirm that. Like, it wasn't necessarily what
that's a whole nother issue.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. It wasn't something that was done intentionally, allegedly. Right. I mean, I just don't know because I couldn't find any more information on that.
And then when you read, it's very bizarre if that's because that is nothing it's bad.
Yeah,
it's very, very bad. Then
the main rub is that this guy was the unifier in chief when it came to making an entire country pray together and bring Jesus back into the home and bring Jesus back into throwing their prayers at somebody. And those
not on purpose.
And those prayers seem to work. It seems like we as a nation prayed this guy into getting better, or at least him not dying. And so the turnaround on that was him arriving at the Super Bowl with a jacket that's completely looking like it's blasphemous, right? That's the real problem. And then whatever the inscription on the front of it was like, that's not very Jesus-like. And maybe it is. I'm not a total expert on scripture. And that's where, and then you have a Super Bowl where Rihanna comes out as maybe some of the most evil garbage that's ever been on television.
Disgusting, just flat out disgusting.
And it's like the executives at these companies are like, they are completely fine with all this satanistic garbage that we're seeing. Sam Smith,
we're seeing
Madonna,
it's everywhere.
Madonna, Beyonce. It's just, I mean, the Last Supper being mocked at the Grammys, and it's just one after another. And all of a sudden, this guy was like, we're on the same team here. He comes with this jacket that looks like something out of hell. Now, if it is or not, I don't know. To me, it just made my stomach turn.
It's inappropriate. It's blasphemous. Even if a kid did send it to him, you can take a card and be appreciative. Thank the kid. Give him something autographed. Don't make it into a jacket.
I'd like to
and wear it to the Super Bowl.
I'd like to talk to that kid and see, oh, really? Did you really draw this? Where did your inspiration come? How did you come up with that? That's what I would, if that is allegedly true.
I would love for Tabitha.
On the comment line said it was Jamaican.
Who knows? Tabitha is very knowledgeable about stuff. She's very knowledgeable about government. She's very knowledgeable about geopolitical. I would like Tabitha to start looking into Hollywood and corporations.
I
know, but maybe we can do it off the air and you can tell me. But Hollywood and corporations becoming satanic. I'm just going to keep it. I'm just going to.
Bigger than
maybe
that.
It is.
It is.
I'm just going to keep it that simple. I would like to know why corporations and Hollywood and the music industry is completely satanic. And it is not, and it's not even debatable anymore. Right? And I'll leave it at there. I just would like to know.
I'll say it. She works in Hollywood. She can't, Eric. I'm going to say it.
I can't talk about things.
100%.
That's the most important thing right now in this country.
But there are things I know.
Right now, it's the most important thing in this country because in our documentation when this country was built, it says, "In God we trust." It is literally the founding principle of everything that our government does from day to day.
I don't think that these people are Satanists, first of all. I think a lot of it is to draw attention. A lot of it is sensationalism. And there certainly are Satanists out there, no question about it. And I do think that there are people, not as much in Hollywood, more musicians, and that I can talk about. Like, look at Madonna and look at the comparisons to Madonna and her new face and her hairstyle to a Satan goddess. You know, you can see the statue online. I think there is some really strange things going on out there. I think that we as a world are fighting a battle between good and evil right now.
Oh, I guess that's what I'm talking
But
about.
my biggest issue is when you see the whatever the award show that was just on. Was it the Grammys?
What was
I
the
didn't even watch
Grammys? It was last week.
And I think a lot of that is really just sensationalism. They're just trying to get people to watch. They're trying to bring the numbers up. I don't think that Sam Smith is truly a devil or a Satanist. I think he has
a video where
sensationalist.
I know, man.
But either way, you know what?
Man.
But think about it from a biblical perspective. It's still wrong. It's still wrong. They're
Scotty,
still
what do you think about it?
Would you side.
You're in a original project. Would you ever, if your producer said you got to go all devil on me, man, because we're going to make some money, would you ever do it? No.
But there are
sit here
others who
producing
would
a
say,
podcast.
But these people aren't
damn good.
These people aren't.
Think about
Christians.
how good he would look with horns coming out of his head. He would be amazing.
Hey,
They're under my cans.
Hey, Scotty, when you get a chance, if you can see the video I sent you, it was an interview that Damar Hamlin did. If there's any way to load that, I watched it last night. He was on with Michael Strahan the other day, and hopefully we can play this for you, but I'll tell you about right now.
I'm going to load it. It may start to play automatically. I'll try to pause it if it does.
We'll set it up here. Michael Strahan, his first question was, what did the doctors tell you about your situation regarding how you got into that? And I know there's keywords that we don't say on this show, but what happened to you? What did the doctors tell you? Michael Strahan, you'll hear him hopefully ask the question. And Damar Hamlin,
got it.
Watch what Damar Hamlin does or says, and what do you think about this as we play this?
You're holding the slate.
And action. That's my first time doing that. Go, man. So, let's go back to January 2nd. You're facing off against the Cincinnati Bengals. Playoff implications on the line. How are you feeling before the game and when you were out there? Normal?
It's super normal. Feeling great. You know, I'm thinking finish the regular season strong, trying to get ready for that playoff push.
Burrow in the shotgun, 3-step drop, looks to his right, wide open T. Higgins underneath.
In the course of the game, you make the tackle. Do you remember standing up after you make that tackle?
That's something I don't really want to get too deep into in the details of. But it's something I'm still trying to work through, you know, why it happened to me.
So the question, that was one of the questions Michael asked, but the other question about it, he says, what did doctors tell you? That was edited. So he asked him and he said, and he sat there for like 20, 30 seconds. He didn't say a word. And then he just goes, what you heard him say, that's something I don't want to get into. The question that Michael asked right there was not the specific question. The specific question was, what did doctors tell you about why this happened to you and how you came back? Literally, as Bendy just said, the silence was deafening. That clip was edited. I thought it was the real one. That's why I said I went looking for it. I watched it last night. The first question is what doctors told you about why this happened to you.
Well, why?
And then he thought about it for about 20, 30 seconds. This is in there. He's just looking down at the ground.
I saw that.
And looks up and goes, it's something I don't want to talk
about. Well, why do you think? NDE?
So I number one, he wanted to not get into a certain situation.
COVID?
Whether the NFL,
vaccine?
Whether the NFL
cupcake?
Too late.
Yeah, whether the NFL didn't want him to say about something, whether he got a cupcake, whether it was
pandemic ominous.
Related. Yeah, very ominous. Why would he not answer?
And what I would like to know,
paid off, threatened.
You know cardiologists, don't you? We need to reach out to a cardiologist and find out is somebody who will speak to you, even if it's off air.
I'll get one.
And say, hey, we are being told in the medical community to not discuss these things. Because, you know, I have a heart arrhythmia. That's no secret. I just recently visited my cardiologist. And what was so crazy, they gave me an AKG and the lady was like, you have not had any of the cupcakes, correct? And I'm like, that's correct. And she seemed relieved. And she didn't say that, but she seemed relieved, like, good. We don't have to worry about you because you've not had the cupcakes.
Yeah, I don't understand. It could go
There's
two
something
ways.
going
Is
on.
it a spiritual thing? Is it a medical thing? Is it an NFL thing?
He might have saw something and scared the crap out of
I
him.
think
may
you're right.
have.
Since you asked me, Eric, I 100% think it's an NFL thing,
Yes.
which has to do with a medical thing. No doubt in my mind that the NFL does not want him talking about what happened to him and why.
Because think what that would do to the morale of the rest of not only his
Bingo.
team, but the other teams. Because guess what? They've all been cupcaked.
Most of the NFL,
yes.
All of them.
has been not all.
Really?
No,
I thought the
Most.
NFL was all
Nope.
cupcakes.
Nope. They're not. Aaron Rodgers did all. Now it's coming out. Tom Brady wasn't. All these athletes said, "Well, we got." Like when Aaron Rodgers, it was found out that he hadn't.
Right. You're right.
He said, "Well, I've been taking care of myself," because they all have their own private doctors, and those big stars that the private doctors were told not to.
And that's totally fair. These guys are machines as far as their physical abilities are. So I totally think if you have the cash to go spend on world-class treatment and not get cupcaked, more power to you, man, because you got the money to actually be in therapy for the rest of your NFL career.
Did you hear the statements that some of the other players made after this happened?
No.
I watched a video where they all made various statements, and they said, you know what? Yes, it occurred to me that could have been me. And one of the guys even said, I have to put it out of my mind or I won't play again.
But
because it could happen to me.
Did you hear there's another soccer player that just dropped dead?
Yeah, a Belgian goalie.
Another guy just
25-year-old.
Every day.
Dropped dead. How do soccer players? It's like a marathon runner, just a gaggle of marathon runners dying from cardiac arrest.
I just thought Michael Strahan did a terrific. I mean, what a great. I mean, it was a great, and I mean great question.
Why didn't he push him though? I would have pushed him a little bit more.
Well, he may have too, but also if you're getting that interview, guess what? And you're getting that exclusive, and this is how it works because I was in the business for 24 years. You also have to abide by guidelines when you get those interviews, or you'll never get an NFL interview again. And Strahan got it because he's a former NFL player, Hall of Fame player, and
he does a pretty good job,
and a damn good host.
Yeah,
and
the NFL, they don't want their guys to be scared to go out and play.
It's money.
That's
money,
what
money.
it all comes down to.
You don't go against the NFL in anything. It is one of the biggest businesses in the world, and the NFL dominates.
Amen, brother.
All right.
So real quick, going back to our original conversation, we started the show about this, the train derailment. I just found a picture from someone that posted something on Facebook.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense with our next guest who's from Ohio.
Exactly. So I figured I'd just throw this up there for you guys. This is a picture from a plane right above East Palestine in Ohio, if you can see that there.
That's a nuclear bomb.
The cloud area and then the black circle around the area of where
Oh my gosh.
And that is just toxic.
Gosh.
That is just toxic debris right there.
Passenger photo while plane
in Ohio
flew near East Palestine, Ohio.
And I'm glad you said it that way because I couldn't remember the way they pronounce it. It is Palestine. not Palestine or Palestine. It
East
Palestine.
Palestine.
I just saw that and I was like, wow, we should
And
show
for our
that
listeners
sure.
on podcast who aren't watching the video, what it is just imagine cloud cover and then a massive circle that is all black.
Looks like
mushroom cloud.
It looks like a black eye of a hurricane.
Yeah.
And that's not just ash. That is acid rain. It's vinyl chloride and other chemicals and compounds that went up in a mushroom cloud, very similar to a nuclear bomb. And think about what goes up comes back down. Wow. And not only that, but it spreads out over a very large area. It's a very serious catastrophe that's going to take place.
That town has to shut down.
More than the town.
That's Times Beach right there is what that is.
How far is it going to spread?
All the way down to Pittsburgh, all the way down the Columbia River, or not the Columbia River, but the Ohio. What is it? The Ohio River.
How is it going to affect us?
How's it going to affect us? Well, fortunately, we're on the west of this, so the weather patterns aren't.
It's going to come down the Mississippi.
No, it will not. It will go. It'll go towards. It'll go east from there, and we're on the west side of that, so it won't necessarily affect us unless it gets in the water.
Well, whenever
table.
Ohio floods.
I don't know.
Flooding comes here down the Mississippi.
You're right. I'm not a geological expert by any stretch of the imagination.
It'll come straight down the Mississippi and into the Gulf.
It's a lot of contaminants going in and killing a lot of fish. I'll tell you that right now. That's where we stand. If I was at Norfolk, is that who you said? Norfolk Southern.
Yes.
You guys better be writing some big ass checks, dog. Seriously, you have a lot of families that need to get the hell out of there immediately. There's nothing okay about your houses. You start writing some checks. If that puts you out of business, so the hell be it. We'll find some other train company that can do your job a lot safer than you can. If this is Pete Buttigieg's fault, he is immediately fired without any pay on the other side of this thing.
I don't think it's his fault, but maybe the reaction and the
Maybe
way they
we shouldn't
handled
be
it.
sending money everywhere else for all these stupid things that they want to do and
Scotty.
fix the damn rail
I
system.
just feel people feel for those people in Ohio. That's for sure.
Civil War area brake systems on these trains.
Yeah, the stuff that goes west is the weather patterns. So anything that's in the sky right now is going to the east. I'm sorry.
Did you see what Lisa just posted? She said Norfolk Southern offered $1 million to all the families in East Palestine. You know why?
Not enough.
You know why?
Not enough.
Because they know they like I said earlier, they classified this train as non-hazardous. These people had no idea what was moving
was
through
that
their
$1 million
area.
per family?
Per family. That's why I had not confirmed that. But
Okay,
that's
you know what?
she
I
says.
digress. $1 million.
That's a lot.
$1 million is like, look, we screwed up here. You can pay me $1
But
million.
still should be more.
I now have enough money to go set up another life somewhere else.
Yeah,
now you
hopefully
just.
But what about the health implications?
your medical bills aren't
good
more.
point.
If it's killing fish and animals, how's it going to affect these people who breathe that in?
Yeah, but you cannot be whatever you pay out later. They have got to take a big truck and say, "You're out. You're out. You got 5 minutes to get the hell out of here." That's it. So
you're right. I was looking at Norfolk Southern's profit earlier, and Helen, if you're watching, I have to look at my phone once in a while to look at numbers. So Norfolk Southern Corporation, they made $12.745 billion in 2022.
They've got good insurance, that's for sure.
That's a 15% increase from 2021. Their executives pocketed an extra $3.4 to $13 million. And guess what? Rail workers, remember when the rail workers wanted to strike? They get zero paid sick days, and they are denied their constitutional right to strike.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll continue to follow that subject as it goes. And a better subject, and speaking of Ohio, we now welcome to our show Nicole Marie. Nicole, thanks for joining us today. We're talking to you about music and an awesome day for you. Had you heard about the stuff in Ohio? Because you're joining us from some point in Ohio, someplace.
Right. Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today. I have my coffee ready and yeah. And I just want to give a big shout out to GS3 George for having me on the show. And just giving God the glory for being here today. You know, just giving him praise for just protecting me and you know, I have to say that because he's been a very strong person. You know.
Amen.
Well, we cover a lot on this show, and GS3 said you guys got to get Nicole on today. You have a single drop today. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and what's happening today. Heck, I was reading through all of your connections with the Jackson family as well. I was like, man, she's been around music royalty her whole life.
I've been very, very blessed. I can tell you that, you know, I'm a singer, songwriter, I'm a producer, I'm an actress, you know, I do it all, but I started, you know, it's been a grind. It's been a grind for many, many years. And yes, I've been really blessed to be able to work with Joe Jackson, rest in peace. You know, my brother and I had a company called Rock Me TV. We started an internet television company back in the day when nobody even knew how to stream live. So it was very, very different times.
We're super interested. I'm a musician.
Okay.
Our producer's a musician, and we come from old school days when Sony Records and EMI Records used to be around. How are you releasing your album? Are you doing it digitally?
It's called Fireworks too, by the way.
Yeah. Are you releasing it on all digital? Do you have a record label picking you up? How is it working now?
So I have a new song I wrote. It's called Fireworks, and it's being released nationally with national radio play on all social media platforms. And it's produced by the legendary DJ Ron G. So I shout out to Ron G because he called me up and he said, I got this song. I need you to write to it. And whenever he tells me something like that, I'm on it. I never, ever, you know, take it for granted. I said, you know what? I have to write to this song. So I wrote to it. I recorded it a week later, and here we are. So it's being released, and it's called Fireworks.
Nice.
Song of celebration. You know.
Cannot wait to hear it.
And we'll try to show you're R&B pop, correct?
Yeah, I am, but I also write for other artists, and it can be anything. So I can do country, I can do pop, anything. I can write you a song,
Is it hard and difficult to get music played? Eric was talking about streaming where you can download things. I mean, we know that sometimes there's word out there with actors and sometimes rappers where you need to, for all intents and purposes, quote, sell your soul to the devil, or say, I'll give you all rights to my image and how I dress and how I look. Have you found that to be the case as well?
Well, let me tell you what I do every morning. I go and I read the scriptures. So if you look at like Isaiah 41:10, and I am not a preacher, but I have a lot of faith. So when I read the word, he says things like, fear not, I'm with you. Be not dismayed. I am your God. I'll strengthen you. I'll help you. I'll uphold you with my righteous right hand. When I look at that type of stuff, I don't think about selling my soul or anything like that, because I know who I belong to. I know I'm a child of God. I know that. And I hope and I pray every day that the things that I put out into the world are positive, and that I'm setting a good example for people and children who are watching the stuff that I'm doing. So, I'm real conscious of that, really conscious.
What do you think about the audiences right now? The audiences is like you have to amp everything up way beyond what looks comfortable to me on stage. When we watched the Grammys the other night, it was, and maybe you disagree, it looked very satanic. It looked very blasphemous. Do you have to go way above and beyond to get an audience these days? And just kind of, I don't know, be maybe more on the evil side of things. I mean,
so you do music, right?
Well, yes, yeah. My heyday was way back when we used to actually have what are called A&R people, artist relations. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore, but it's yeah. But we did not have to do that, Vic. We did not have to go out and be that bombastic. But I'm just wondering, the audience that you're playing to right now, do they expect more from the musical talent they listen to?
I don't know, because when I write music, I write it because it's a passion. I love it. And so when I put it out, I'm not really thinking about, oh, is this person going to like it? Or, what do I have to do to get it out there?
Right.
Because that puts a lot of pressure on myself. And then that makes me feel, I don't like to do that. I kind of just write what I'm feeling. And then, I hope that people like it, but ultimately I'm writing it because it was a vibe. It was just a vibe at that time. Right. So,
right.
And hopefully people like
Good.
it.
Yeah.
And it's called Fireworks. Is that correct?
Yeah. Hi, Tabitha. Yes, it's called Fireworks.
It's called Fireworks. And can you tell us the inspiration? Is this a Christian song? Is that
Great
correct?
question.
Well, it's a song about celebrating life. And I do mention in the song that, we're celebrating life, we're praising God, we're making it to another level. And, just about, and I do say that, I'm like, we're praising God. And it's just about celebrating life, all the positive things, being in a room with good energy. And that's really what it's about. I always like to put in there certain things that I'm feeling. So I like, I want to do things with my music that praise him. Sometimes,
Good.
I would think about it and say, hey, should I do gospel? But then I'm like, but I really like R&B. I really like R&B. So why can't I just add what I'm thinking in my R&B songs, and spread the word if I can that way. And so far, so good.
Do you have a video coming out? Do you have a video and live performances that we can see yet?
Yeah, I have a lot of videos out, but the one video I'm really excited about is Fireworks, because we're shooting it in New York City, March 3rd.
Nice.
We have so many people that are going to be there and supporting, and I just want to thank everybody who's going to come out. There's going to be a lot of people, so it's just going to be really great. A lot of people that I haven't seen in like 20 years. So
right.
So it's going to be like a celebration of life. Everybody's there, having a good time. And
how was your experience with American Idol? I'm just reading through your bio. I mean, you were on music your whole life, but did that kickstart you in any way? Did it make you happy? Did it piss you off? I'm just curious.
Well, you win some, you lose some, right? So I auditioned for Cleveland Idol, which was part of the American Idol thing, and I won top 10 in Cleveland, Ohio. So I got to sing at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was really, really dope. I was able to, just get out there and do what I love to do. So it was a good experience. And no, I think American Idol gives a voice to people, any platform that, whatever you can do on a platform, if you can put out good energy, that's always a great thing. It's up to the person to be able to put that good energy out. So anybody can provide a platform. It's what do you do with your platform, So I have a company right now that I'm partners with. I'm a co-founder. It's called Jatango. And actually George is a part of that company as well. And, we put everything together. It's music, it's Jatango. Jatango is, have you ever heard of like QVC?
Yes.
Home Shopping Network?
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like what we built. It's my brother, Phil, shout out to Phil. He's like a technology guru, way before his time, but we call it Jatango. We created a technology that allows anyone to pretty much go live on their social media.
Wait a minute. You need to write that down.
You can hold up products.
Good. So you're an entrepreneur is what it sounds like.
I'm doing everything. Yeah.
Do you find that being an entrepreneur is easy for you guys, or is it challenging? And then what advice would you give to some younger people that might want to get in the same space as you?
This is my advice because I'm still grinding at this. I'm still learning something every day, right? So my advice is, if you believe in something, go for it. Do it. If you have this idea, and the problem is everybody tries to shoot down your idea when you got an idea. They are, this won't work or this won't work. You can't do that. The truth is you can do it. You can do it, right? So my advice is do what you believe in. If you believe in something, do it and stay consistent, because that's how that's what happens. You're consistent. You constantly are doing something and it ends up working.
Well, we'll continue to keep in touch with you. And of course, we can't wait for this to drop. We'll go find it on Spotify. It's called Fireworks by Nicole Marie. And we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. Keep in touch with us, and especially PS3.
Yes, I'm really grateful you guys had me on the show. I love your show. I was listening to the show this morning, and I can't believe it's like the news. It's a major. You all are major. I love it.
And so are you. If you think that with us, we're grateful. Nicole Marie, welcome in. Congratulations. Keep us posted on everything, okay? God bless you, girl.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Bye, Nicole. She's great. Love her energy.
I can't wait to hear Fireworks. It sounds so amazing. I'm not the musical, obviously, one out of the group, so I don't know a whole lot about that.
No, you're the connoisseur. You're able to pick.
Definitely a connoisseur.
You don't make the wine, but you're able to swish it around in your mouth and see if you like it.
That's right. But she has such.
And
she
you might
did have
asked
such
the
good
best
energy.
question.
Well, and I really like the fact that she knows Joe. I love Joe Jackson. That she knows Joe Jackson.
Oh
yeah. And she's the spark of life that I feel that I'm always talking about on this show. It's like the younger generation being entrepreneurial, seeing where the opportunities are, waking up and going and starting a television show like a Shopify or like a QVC, and then having enough gumption to continue to write music. That's what the country
and Christian
needs.
Music. And Christian
yes,
music.
and on top of that, you're not wearing all red. And never mind, I'm just going to stop right there.
And she's R&B pop. She said, hey, I could have gone to that, but I decided to stay where I was. The funniest thing just happened. I have no idea, Tabitha. Please tell me that nothing bad is happening.
With what?
Tabitha's
I know. I don't know if I can put it in there.
What's watch.
My
God,
watch
please.
is like gone crazy.
Please tell me that's not your Illuminati watch. Please
I
tell
don't
me
know what happened. It just
please
got this
tell me you're
giant-
not wearing an Illuminati watch. Saying you're about to explode.
Apple Watch, but it just turned all red and is like buzzing, and I have absolutely no idea why.
Oh,
I don't
They're
feel
listening.
safe in this room all of a sudden.
They're listening.
Scotty, please take us out of here.
Okay, no, it's back. It's back to
They
normal.
don't want us to talk about the battle between good and evil.
Good God,
And
that was
we
the
could
weirdest
do-
thing ever.
Your
It
watch
was
has never.
weird.
Your watch has never gone all red like that.
No, I don't know what happened. It was like
What
buzzing
in the
me.
name of
Did
God?
you see it?
Yes, I did, ma'am.
It was like in just a plain entire red screen. Like it's
You did it on
They're
purpose.
listening to us.
They're listening to you.
I wish I did it on purpose because I do it more often and freak people out.
Oh my gosh, Carlene says I quit wearing Apple Watches. Tabitha's
They
watch is
know.
gone
Oh my
mad.
God, I can't believe
They
what
know
you are. The
everything you do.
weirdest, most interesting individual on
Well,
the planet.
weird things happen to me, but I wear my Apple Watch because I have a heart arrhythmia. and my watch constantly tracks my heart
that's
rate.
even
and
worse.
Yeah, did that have something to do with your
That's
heart?
even worse.
No. Mm-mm.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Why did it go all red?
I don't have the faintest clue. I don't know. Maybe it's the aliens. Maybe it's red for the devil.
You know,
I don't know.
You're supposed to meet your pickup in about an hour. They're gonna.
The black helicopters are already landing outside.
They're probing of you, Tabitha.
Yeah.
They don't want
Steve Jobs is
to
still
talk
alive, and
about
he wants
the
to have a
truth.
discussion with you
Oh
immediately.
my gosh. I just want to say congratulations. I don't know what you say to somebody who spent 29 years of their life behind bars in the St. Louis area. Lamar Johnson spent 29 years of his life convicted because of testimony of somebody who lied. Two guys who actually committed the crime and killed said that they saw him do it. Went to prison for 29 years. Laws changed where they were able to go back, look at the case, and admit the testimony of, believe it or not, somebody lies and puts you to prison, and then they come back and say that they lied.
Happens all the time. All the
Wow.
time.
Well, it does.
There
where
are
people
so
come
many
back.
innocent people sitting in prisons right now.
Oh, but they
It's
don't get to
insane.
get out.
And they
It's-
don't have the opportunity because, a long time ago, we didn't have the DNA technology we have now. And people went to prison because somebody said, hey, it was him. I saw him. There's a lot of innocent people sitting in prison. And thank God one more has been released.
I don't know what you do, how you make amends. There is no way to make amends for something like that.
It's measured in
You
millions.
can't.
It's measured in millions.
And,
Even no amount of money makes up for your freedom, though.
and so peaceful in regards to how he's responded in regards to what happened to him. Completely fabricated, lied about to hurt him and put him in prison. Then the same people who lied come back and say, we lied.
Happens all the time.
And that's what gets him out of prison.
Good.
And
I mean,
and it shouldn't have taken this long. The flaw that we have many flaws in this country, especially when it comes to our judicial system. There are so many cases out there where the prosecutor or the government or local government, they know that the person's innocent. They know the DNA doesn't match. And yet they won't even listen to an appeal.
Correct. And
It's
Kim
so
Gardner
sad.
did. Kim Gardner, St. Louis Circuit Attorney. That's definitely a victory for her in this
It's probably
situation.
the only thing she's ever done that she should get credit for.
But it's the one thing that will be remembered amongst everything else. And there you go. I'll leave it.
She thinks
at that.
everyone's innocent, so it wasn't really that much of a stretch for her.
You said, I know I wasn't going to go there, but Tabitha, we were on the, okay. I
Because it's a fact that somebody actually confessed to murdering a kid. And Kim Gardner said, we don't have enough evidence.
Yeah.
A confession is evidence.
Yeah, it is. And in this case, it was too. It was evidence to say we'd put him in. And it was evidence when they said we didn't tell the truth. We lied. So anyway, Lamar Johnson, he where he had his meal with his attorney in the St. Louis area, Maggie O'Brien's.
Really?
Yeah, went right into Maggie O'Brien's for his first meal.
Oh,
out
I
of
love
prison
Maggie
with
O'Brien's.
with his attorney.
Old
The
school, but I love
redone
it.
Maggie
I love it.
O'Brien's in downtown.
Probably because
St.
they still
Louis.
have the same menu as they did when he went into prison, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. Don't mess with what's good.
All right. We appreciate you joining us today for cancelthisshow.com, cancelthisshow.com. You can catch all of our original content on our website at cancelthisshow.com. Continue to share the show. Thanks again to Kathy Helbig-Strick for coming in. 314-276-SOLD. Expect to be moved. And to Nicole Marie, who we'll have back on to talk about what's happening in her life with her music, her career, and of course, everything else that she's doing and feeling led to do. Great show, guys. That's it. Bye.
Yeah. I'm still freaking out about that watch over there.
I've never seen anything like it either.
Not me.
They probably
Not
are.
me.
Scotty Gherkin, Eric Johnson,
I'm on
Tabitha
their
Hassel.
side. I'm on Biden's side.
I'm Vic Faust. Have a great day, Patriots. We'll talk to you later.
Biden for president.